it's Affy, and today I am here to do my TBR for the Afterathon. I am really excited. I have a lot of books. I think maybe this is a bit too ambitious. I have over 10 books on this TBR, which I think is a bit ambitious for me, but I'm gonna do my best. I think for April I read almost every single book, or no, I think I did every single book on my TBR in April. And so I figured if I can do it in April, then I'm just gonna push myself and I should be able to get through this TBR in May. I'm really excited to be part of the Ever Afterathon. I'm just gonna go over the books that I have. I've got 14 books in total here. And then there's a 15th book that is for a read-along that I do not have on hand. I actually had to purchase from thrift books, so I'm still waiting for that to arrive. But I'm just gonna go through my TBR and we're gonna read and see what some of these books are about. So the first book I have on my TBR is by Laura Lee Gerke. This is actually part of the Tea and Biscuits with Tara and B read along. This is The Truth About Love and Dukes. Henry, Duke of Torquil, wouldn't be caught reading the wildly popular Dear Lady Truelove column, but when its advice causes his mother to embark on a scandalous elopement, an outraged Henry decides the author of this trite must be stopped before she can ruin any more lives. Though Lady Truelove's identity is a closely guarded secret, Henry has reason to suspect the publisher of the notorious column. Beautiful and provoking Irene Devereux is also its author. For Irene, it's easy to advise others to surrender to passion, but when she meets the Duke of Torquil, she soon learns that passion comes at a price. When one impulsive spur-of-the-moment kiss pulls her into a scorching affair with Henry, it could destroy her beloved newspaper, her career, and her independence. But in the Duke's arms, surrender is so sweet. So this one sounds very interesting. I've heard it's really good, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think I've only read 1 or 2 books by Laura Lee Gerke, but I do remember enjoying them. So yeah, I'm excited about this one, and there are quite a lot of people that will be reading this along with me, so it'll be fun to see what everybody else's opinions are about the book. The next book I have here is actually not necessarily part of the Ever Afterathon. This is for the Hathaway's read-along. This is the last book in the Hathaway series. This is by Lisa Kleypas. This is Love in the Afternoon. And this is Beatrix and Christopher's story. And Beatrix is the youngest Hathaway. She is the one that is obsessed with animals. She's just a very quirky character, and it's her story with Christopher, who is a soldier. So in this it says, as a lover of animals and nature, Beatrix Hathaway has always been more comfortable outdoors than in the ballroom. Even though she participated in the London season in the past, the classic beauty and free-spirited Beatrix has never been swept away or seriously courted, and she has resigned herself to the fate of never finding love. Has the time come for the most unconventional of the Hathaway sisters to settle for an ordinary man just to avoid spinsterhood? Captain Christopher Phelan is a handsome, daring soldier who plans to marry Beatrix's friend, the vivacious flirt Prudence Mercer, when he returns from fighting abroad. But as he explains in his letters to Prue, life on the battlefield has darkened his soul, and it's becoming clear that Christopher won't come back as the same man. When Beatrix learns of Prue's disappointment, she decides to help by concocting Prue's letters to Christopher for her. Soon the correspondence between Beatrix and Christopher develops into something fulfilling and deep. And when Christopher comes home, he's determined to claim the woman he loves. What began as Beatrix's innocent deception has resulted in the agony of unfulfilled love and a passion that can't be denied. So this is an epistolary romance, which is basically just that they're writing each other back and forth. So I remember really liking this one. I don't remember what score I gave it the first time I read it, but I'm excited to check this one out again. I've enjoyed rereading the entire Hathaway series, but I'm definitely still looking forward to this last book. The next book that I have in my list for the Ever Afterathon is by Victoria Alexander. This is The Princess and the Pea, and this is a Princess and the Pea retelling. And so in this one, it says, a true American princess, Cicely White stood to inherit her father's business empire. And with the 20th century right around the corner, so this is a Victorian era, the independent beauty had no intention of marrying some foreign nobleman seeking her money. Then, on a trip to England, Cece fell under the spell of a dashing peer who had more to recommend him than the length of his title and the size of his counting house. But Cece wouldn't surrender her heart to the virile Earl of Grayson until he proved that the only treasure he wanted was her love. I like Victoria Alexander. I've read, I believe, 2 books by her at this point, and both of them were quite funny. I think she's got a very funny writing style, and so I'm definitely looking forward to reading another one by her. And I didn't realize that Princess and the Pea was a fairy tale retelling, so I'm glad this will fit on my team options for the Cinderella team. So yeah. The next book I have here is by Elizabeth Hoyt. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I believe this is part of a series. Well, yes, this is part of a series. This is the 3rd book in the series, and I have not started the series at all, so I will be reading this out of order, as per usual. But it says this is book 3 in the Legend of the Four Soldiers series. This is To Beguile a Beast. And this book has a beautiful step back. And so for this one it says, reclusive Sir Alistair Munro has hidden in his castle ever since returning from the colonies, scarred inside and out, so beast. But when a mysterious beauty arrives at his door, the passions he's kept suppressed for years begin to awaken. Running from past mistakes has taken legendary beauty Helen Fitzwilliam from the luxury of the Ton to a crumbling Scottish castle and a job as a housekeeper. Okay. Yet Helen is determined to start a new life, and she won't let dust or a beast of a man scare her away. Beneath Helen's beautiful facade, Alistair finds a courageous and sensual woman, a woman who doesn't back away from his surliness or his scars. But just as he begins to believe in true love, Helen's secret past threatens to tear them apart. Now both Beast and Beauty must fight for the one thing neither believed they could ever find, a happy ever after. So I've read quite a few Beauty and the Beast retellings. This will be a new one for me. But I do really love Beauty and the Beast retellings. It was my favorite story as a child. I used to rewatch the Disney Beauty and the Beast movie all the time as a child. So I'm always excited to read a Beauty and the Beast retelling. The next book I have on my list here is by Sophie Jordan. This is apparently a Cinderella retelling. This is One Night with You. And in this book, it says, tired of being treated like a servant by her own family, Lady Jane Guthrie finally has a chance to escape, at least for one night. Attired in a daring gown, she arrives at a scandalous courtesan's masquerade ball, looking forward to her few hours of freedom. But when she sees Seth Rutledge, her skin begins to tingle with anticipation. Many years ago, Seth broke her heart by falling for her beautiful, title-hungry sister. But now, here he is, right in front of her, offering her his lips. Embittered by war, Seth returns home to inherit the title that would have once won him the woman of his dreams. Though duty demands he wed, he's convinced passion no longer has a place in his life, until a masked siren sets his heart aflame. Desperate to find her again, he has no idea it's his childhood friend Jane, and that after one night together, their lives will never be the same. Okay, so definitely a Princess Cinderella retelling. So this is perfect. It's a Cinderella, it's possibly a class difference, and then it's got a masquerade ball, so it I think is going to hit all the points for the Cinderella team. So I'm excited about this one. The next two books I have are by Eloisa James. So she also has a fairy tale retelling series, and I'm going to be reading two of the books from this series. So the first one is a Cinderella retelling. This is A Kiss at Midnight, and this has a gorgeous step back. I love the step back in this one. This one I've actually tried to read in the past. And I'm saying tried to read because I actually ended up DNFing it. I remember feeling like it was taking too long for the couple to even get to meet each other, and I was like, okay, it feels like we're at the half point in the book and they still haven't met. How are they going to fall in love? This is ridiculous. And so I put it down and was basically like, maybe I'll read it again someday, maybe I won't. Well, turns out I'm gonna have to read it again. Forced by her stepmother to attend a ball, Kate meets a prince and decides he's anything but charming. A clash of wits and wills ensues, but they both know their irresistible attraction will lead nowhere, for Gabriel is promised to another woman, a princess whose hand in marriage will fulfill his ruthless ambitions. Gabriel likes his fiancée, which is a welcome turn of events, but he doesn't love her. Obviously, he should be wooing his bride-to-be, not the witty, impoverished beauty who refuses to fawn over him. Godmothers and glass slippers notwithstanding, this is one fairy tale in which destiny conspires to destroy any chance that Kate and Gabriel might have a happily ever after. Unless a prince throws away everything that makes him noble, unless a dowry of an unruly heart trumps a fortune, unless one kiss at the stroke of midnight changes everything. So, yeah, this one, I mean, I'll read it again. I don't know that I'll like it, but I'll read it again. A lot of people do love this book, so I'm willing to give it another try. But yeah, I remember not being very thrilled with it the first time I read it. So we'll see how I feel about it once I actually get through the whole book. The next book is also by Eloisa James. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling again. So this is When Beauty Tamed the Beast. And this one I have read before and really enjoyed. I believe the hero in here was, he was modeled after the doctor from House MD. I hope I'm thinking of the right show. But I remember really, really loving the hero. He's so funny. But yeah, Piers Yelverton, Earl of Marchant, lives in a castle in Wales where it is rumored his bad temper flays everyone he crosses. And rumor also has it that a wound has left the Earl immune to the charms of any woman. Lynette is not just any woman. She is more than merely lovely. Her wit and charm brought a prince to his knees. She estimates the Earl will fall madly in love in just 2 weeks. Yet Lynette has no idea of the danger posed to her own heart by a man who may never love her in return. If she decides to be very wicked indeed, what price will she pay for taming his wild heart? So, yeah, I remember really liking this one. It'll be fun to reread it. The next 3 books I have here are all by Teresa Medeiros, and I'm pretty sure these are all fairy tale retellings. So the first one I have is The Bride and the Beast, and this one has a really pretty cover. It says, "Dear reader, I'd been prowling the crumbling ruins of Castle Werecraig for so long that I could no longer remember if I was man or beast. Then, one stormy night, the superstitious Highlanders of Ballybliss decided to leave a helpless virgin bound to a stake in the castle courtyard to satisfy my insatiable appetites. My demands might strike terror in the hearts of men, but this bold beauty dared to defy me. After she informed me that she didn't believe in dragons, I had no choice but to make her my prisoner, or risk being exposed to those I had sought to deceive with my dangerous masquerade. Soon I found myself stealing into the moonlit tower just to watch her sleep. Little does she know that beneath this beast's gruff exterior beats the passionate heart of a man. Gwendolyn Wilder may not believe in dragons, but I intend to use all my sensual wiles to teach her to believe in something even more magical. True love." Yeah, so it's definitely a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and Sounds interesting. I don't know what century this is supposed to be written. 1746. So this is the 1700s, which is not a time period that I've read before, I don't think. Pretty much all the books I have read so far, at least when they do put the time periods in the books, have been in the 1800s and onwards. So this will be a new aspect for me, having a book that's based in the 1700s. The next book is also by Teresa Medeiros. This is Charming the Prince, and this one has a step back. And this one says, "Dear reader, my enemies know me as Lord Banner the Bold, pride of the English and terror of the French. Never in my life have I backed down from any challenge or betrayed so much as a hint of fear, until the war ended and I found myself a reluctant papa to a dozen unruly children. Realizing that I couldn't lop their little heads off or throw them in the dungeon, I sent my steward out to find them a mother and me a bride, an unattractive, meek, maternal creature too plain to tempt me to get her with child. You can imagine my horror when he returned with Lady Willow of Bedlington, a spirited beauty who made me think of nothing else. With her cloud of dark curls and the sparkle of passion in her eyes, Willow was everything I'd sworn to resist. I never dreamed she would join forces with those mischievous imps of mine to teach the cynical warrior just how sweet surrender could be." So this looks like it's also from possibly, no, this is the 1300s. Wow. Okay. That's really far back. This will be very, very interesting. I'm looking forward to these two just because it's a different time period than I've read before. I'm not used to those time periods. So it'll be very interesting to see kind of what the differences are between these time periods and the 19th century. The last Teresa Medeiros book I have is Yours Until Dawn, and this is a book that I have read before. So this will be a reread for me. This is another Beauty and the Beast retelling. So Gabriel Fairchild's valor during battle earns him the reputation of hero, but costs him both his sight and his hope for the future. Abandoned by the fiancé he adored, the man who once walked like a prince among London's elite secludes himself in his family's mansion, cursing his way through dark days and darker nights. Prim nurse Samantha Wickersham arrives at Fairfield Park to find her new charge behaving more like a beast than a man. Determined to do her duty, she engages the arrogant Earl in a battle of both wit and wills. Although he claims she doesn't possess an ounce of womanly softness, she can feel his heart racing at her slightest touch. As Samantha begins to let the light back into Gabriel's life and his heart, they both discover that some secrets and some pleasures are best explored in the dark. Okay, so those were my main 10 books for my TBR. The next 4 are going to be my, if I finish those 10 and I still have time to read more books. So this is my overflow TBR. So the first one I have here, this would be a reread. This is Julia Quinn. This is An Offer from a Gentleman. So this is another Cinderella retelling. And this has a beautiful step back. So most people already know what this book is, who this book is about, but I'm going to read it anyways. So Sophie Beckett never dreamed she'd be able to sneak into Lady Bridgerton's famed masquerade ball, or that Prince Charming would be waiting there for her. Though the daughter of an earl, Sophie has been relegated to the role of servant by her disdainful stepmother. But now, spinning in the strong arms of the debonair and devastatingly handsome Benedict Bridgerton, she feels like royalty. Alas, she knows all enchantments must end when the clock strikes midnight. Who was that extraordinary woman? Ever since that magical night, a radiant vision in silver has blinded Benedict to the attractions of any other, except perhaps this alluring and oddly familiar beauty dressed in housemaid's garb whom he feels compelled to rescue from a most disagreeable situation. He has sworn to find and wed his mystery miss, but this breathtaking maid makes him weak with wanting her. Yet if he offers her his heart, will Benedict sacrifice his only chance for a fairy tale love? So I remember being very middle of the road with this book simply because I didn't really like Book Benedict very much. He's a bit of a dick. So yeah, we'll see. If I get around to this one, I'll definitely pay more attention to the details and just kind of my overall feelings for the book. I love Benedict in the series, so I'm assuming the next season is going to be really good. But as far as the book goes, it's a little it was a little lacking for me. But like I said, if I do get around to it, I will definitely pay more attention this time upon reread. The next book is about a masquerade, which is one of the tropes for Team Cinderella. So this is by Brenda Joyce. This is The Masquerade. And I have never read anything by this author before, but I had this book, so I figured I would grab it. It says, on the evening of her first masquerade, shy Elizabeth Ann Fitzgerald is stunned by Tyrell de Warren's whispered suggestion of a midnight rendezvous in the gardens. Lizzie has secretly worshipped the unattainable lord for years. When fortune takes a maddening turn, she is prevented from meeting Tyrell. But Lizzie cannot foresee that that night is only the beginning. Tyrell de Warren is shocked when 2 years later Lizzie arrives on his doorstep with a child she claims is his. He remembers her well and knows that he could not possibly be the father. What is this game she is playing, and why? Is Elizabeth Ann Fitzgerald a woman of experience or the gentle innocent she seems? But neither scandal, deception, nor pride can thwart a love too passionate to be denied. Okay, that's a very interesting that's a very interesting backstory. So yeah, baby and masquerade ball should be an interesting one. The next book I have here is a time travel. So this is by Eugenia Riley. This is Tempest in Time. And for this one, this is most likely, let me see what year this one is from, because this looks like it's probably from the 90s or early 2000s. This is from 1996. So this is definitely going to be an interesting time period. So it says, an assertive, independent businesswoman, Missy Monroe, was having second thoughts about marrying gentle, gallant Jeff Dalton. What kind of a marriage could she have with a man who left her feeling so blah? A shy, timid Victorian virgin, Melissa Montgomery was terrified at the thought of her arranged marriage to arrogant, domineering Fabien Fentonat. How could she survive a wedding night with a man whose animal magnetism had her quaking in her boots? Accidentally trading places and partners on their wedding day, Missy and her long-ago namesake each found herself in a bewildering new time, married to a husband she didn't know. And each would have to discover for herself whether she was part of an odd couple or a match made in heaven. Okay, so it's kind of a time swap story. That's different. That's very different. So the last book that I have here, I don't know for sure if this is a fairy tale retelling or not. I might have just grabbed it. I'm going to read the back and we'll just have to see. But this is Rules to Catch a Devilish Duke. This is by Suzanne Enoch. And on this one it says, Sophia White knows she will never marry into polite society. The illegitimate daughter of a nobleman, she works at the Tantalus Club, a discreet establishment for gentlemen. And her only suitor is a pastor who wants to save her soul. So when Sophia is invited to spend the holidays at the estate of Adam Basquick, the devilishly handsome Duke of Greaves, she is delighted and determined to enjoy her last nights of freedom before surrendering her hand. Inviting Sophia for Christmas is a daring courtesy on Adam's part, but he soon finds the pleasure is all his. Sophia is beautiful, courageous, and stubbornly self-sufficient, despite her scandalous circumstances, and not at all the kind of woman he could possibly marry. Adam knows he must find a wife by his 30th birthday, or he will lose his fortune. But can he defy convention and convince Sophia to risk it all in the name of love? So it looks like this one is a class difference, which is still a sub-trope for the Cinderella team. So I'm definitely going to get the points for that. Do you want to come say bye with me? Come here. Oh my gosh. Oh. So that was my TBR. Okay. That was my TBR for the Ever Afterathon. If you are participating, let me know what's on your TBR, especially if you're on the Cinderella team. I'd love to know. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this upcoming month. Like I said, my TBR is a little bit ambitious. I probably won't make it through 14 books. I think the most I've ever read in 1 month was 12 books. This shirt that I have is, it says Aubrey Hall, Pall Mall. You can't see the rest of it down there, but this is from the Bridgerton Season 2 Pall Mall game. And so, yeah, if you could find me a stick of some sort that reminds you of the Pall Mall game, then leave me that emoji, maybe like a hockey stick or something. I don't know, just something that reminds you of Pall Mall. You can leave that as your emoji for this video, but thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.